action against Syria over an alleged chemical attack on civilians. And Yulia Skripal discharged from a British hospital.
Hello and a very good evening. President Xi Jinping says China will further open up its economy and promised a new era of liberalization that would allow foreign investors greater market access. His pledge at the Boao Forum for Asia comes amid a simmering trade confrontation with the United States. Have fears of a trade war with the United States made China think twice about upping the ante against its main trading partner? Although China filed a complaint against the US at the World Trade Organization today over its steel and aluminium tariffs, the tone in President Xi Jinping's speech on Hainan was more conciliatory. As he formally opened the Boao Forum for Asia this morning, President Xi promised to open China's economy further, lower import tariffs on overseas products, and improve intellectual property protection. The speech was seen by many as an attempt to defuse the escalating trade dispute with the US. It's a spat which has roiled stock markets recently and seen analysts warn of serious damage to the world's economy. Indeed, other leaders at the Boao Forum warned of the grave consequences of a trade war.
There will always be competition between the major powers, but it makes all the difference whether competition takes place within a framework of interdependence and generally accepted rules of the game. Because what is ultimately at stake is war and peace, the security and stability of the world.
Xi largely avoided the dramatic warnings that characterized the speech of the Singapore leader. Instead, the president chose to pledge that China would sharply widen market access for foreign investors. Restricted access to China's markets has been a chief complaint of Beijing's main trading partners and a point of contention for US President Donald Trump's administration, which has threatened billions of dollars in tariffs on Chinese goods. Xi also said China would raise the foreign ownership limit in the auto, shipbuilding and aircraft sectors as soon as possible and push previously announced measures to open the financial sector. Chinese officials have been promising since at least 2013 to ease restrictions on foreign joint ventures in the auto industry, which would allow foreign companies to take a majority stake. Currently, foreign firms are limited to a 50% stake in joint ventures and are not allowed to establish wholly owned factories.
As China files a trade complaint before the WTO, US President Donald Trump expressed confidence that the two sides would eventually work through their differences. The tariff spat over steel and aluminium is one element of the wide-ranging trade dispute between Washington and Beijing. Trump has also threatened to increase duties on $50 billion worth of Chinese goods in a separate conflict over technology policy. And Trump says Beijing's retaliatory measures against US agriculture as a way to unsettle his political base would not work.
If during the course of a negotiation they want to hit the farmers because they think that hits me, I wouldn't say that's nice, but I tell you, our farmers are great patriots. These are great patriots. They understand that they're doing this for the country. And we'll make it up to them. And in the end, they're going to be much stronger than they are right now.
North Korean media this morning announced summit meetings with the leaders of South Korea and the United States. It's the first time North Korea's official news agency has reported the meetings will take place. It said leader Kim Jong-un had set strategic and tactical issues for the two summits. In Washington, D.C., US President Donald Trump said he expects his meeting to take place next month or in early June. His goal is the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. South Korean President Moon Jae-in is set to meet with Kim on April 27th.
US President Donald Trump is threatening imminent military action against Syria over Saturday's alleged chemical attack on civilians. Syria has denied the use of chemical weapons, and its ally Russia said the US threat is beyond threshold of what's acceptable. Alan Buckner reports.
Medical aid groups reported dozens of civilians, including women and children, were killed by poison gas in a Syrian government attack Saturday. Images released over the internet show children being sprayed down with water and treated with inhalers. At a meeting with military leaders, President Donald Trump promised a quick decision on how the U.S. would respond.
We cannot allow atrocities like that. Cannot allow it. He may. And if he does, it's going to be very tough. Very tough. Everybody's going to pay a price. He will, everybody will.
At a United Nations Security Council meeting, Syria's ambassador again denied that Damascus used chemical weapons. U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley demanded an international response to the attack.
We are on the edge of a dangerous precipice. The great evil of chemical weapons use that once unified the world in opposition is on the verge of becoming the new normal. The international community must not let this happen. Russia could stop this senseless slaughter if it wanted, but it stands with the Assad regime and supports without any hesitation. What's the point of trying to shame such people?
Руководство США, Великобритании и Франции.
Russian Ambassador Vasily Nebenzia responded angrily, saying the country is being unpardonably threatened. He said the tone has gone beyond the threshold of what's acceptable, even during the Cold War. In Idlib, Syria, dozens of protesters wearing masks carried signs pleading for an international response to the suspected chemical attack. Alan Bucknia, TVB News.
In the United States, the FBI raided the New York home and offices of Michael Cohen, President Trump's personal lawyer, who's at the center of a controversy over a $130,000 payment made to a porn star. The search was conducted partly under a referral by the Office of Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Mueller is investigating whether the members of the 2016 Trump campaign colluded with Russians during the presidential election. The raid could increase legal pressure on the president because it involves records of his longtime attorney. Trump once again had harsh words for the Mueller investigation.
It's a disgraceful situation. It's a total witch hunt. I've been saying it for a long time. I've wanted to keep it down. We've given, I believe, over 1 million pages worth of documents to the special counsel. They continue to just go forward. Why don't I just fire Mueller? Well, I think it's a disgrace what's going on. We'll see what happens.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is undergoing a 2-day congressional inquisition that could be pivotal for the world's most influential social network that he created. Zuckerberg visited with senators in closed-door meetings on Monday, previewing the public apology he plans to give Congress later today. It comes after revelations that Cambridge Analytica, a data mining firm affiliated with Donald Trump's presidential campaign, gathered personal information from 87 million Facebook users to try to influence elections. Zuckerberg has apologized many times already, but it is the first time in his career that he will go before Congress.
My sense is that he takes it seriously because he knows that there is going to be a hard look at regulation. If it's not his site, someone else can be misused for people who are trying to do us harm. And I believe he understands that regulation could be right around the corner.
Yulia Skripal, one of 2 Russians poisoned with a nerve agent, has been discharged from Salisbury District Hospital in southern England. The daughter of former Russian double agent Sergei Skripal has reportedly been taken to a secure location.
This is not the end of her treatment, but marks a significant milestone. Her father has also made good progress. On Friday, I announced that he was no longer in a critical condition. Although he's recovering more slowly than Yulia, we hope that he too will be able to leave hospital in due course.
33-year-old Yulia and her 66-year-old father were found unconscious on a bench early last month in Salisbury. They remained in hospital in a critical condition until their health began to improve rapidly last week. Britain says they were poisoned with a military-grade nerve agent and has blamed Russia for the attack. Russia has denied any involvement in the incident, which has plunged Moscow's relations with the West to a post-Cold War low.
And still ahead. The top court orders a retrial for a defamation case involving Paul Chan and his wife. A hidden coding error blamed for an East Rail service disruption in January. And Malaysian general election set for May 9th.
Hidden in the depths, and often just under your nose, are unique beauties and life forms, waiting to be discovered. Tonight, Dream Cruises presents Underwater Planet at 9:35 on Pearl Spectacular. In Part 5 of the Greater Bay Area Special, we look at two cities, Zhaoqing and Huizhou, that can offer tourists and retirees a comfortable experience. Also on Money Magazine, our monthly selection of Hong Kong stocks that are worth buying. Friday night at 8 on Pearl.
牛欄牌獨有 ProAbsorb 配方，結合益生菌同專利9:1益生元組合，肚仔營養好 ，BB 更容易吸收美好大世界。
牛欄牌仲有全新嘅 Meal Plus， 係小朋友嘅吸收好 buddy。
打波先嚟落雨，比賽先嚟拗柴，
着新鞋先嚟踢花，考試先嚟失手。
臨過關先嚟跳掣，
做 project 先嚟玩失蹤，
空肚先嚟冇早餐食。
激氣過後，諗翻轉頭，頭先只係芝麻綠豆嘅小事。面對難題，不氣餒，他朝成就必定非凡。
而家食好啲，聽日實食到早餐嘅。
Same hotel, same price? Oh, no. There are so many different prices out there all over the internet. And Trivago instantly compares them all to find your ideal hotel for the best price. Hotel Trivago.
A warm welcome back to TVB News. The city's top court has ordered a retrial for a defamation case against the finance chief Paul Chan and his wife. The couple were accused of defaming two students and their father. As Christy Leung reports, the students were classmates of Paul Chan's daughter at an international school in Hong Kong.
Paul Chan and his wife were accused of defamation more than 6 years ago. The case stemmed from a series of emails in which the couple alleged that two students at a Chinese international school got away with cheating on a test as their father, Cao Lu, was a school board member. The Chans heard such rumors from their daughter, who was in the same class. The couple was found guilty of defamation and ordered to pay $230,000 in damages, thus they appealed against the ruling and won. Cao Lu then took the case to the Court of Final Appeal and argued that the actions of Paul Chan and his wife were malicious. Lu noted the couple didn't stop making allegations even after the school said it had found no evidence of cheating. Today, the top court ordered a retrial for the case. It said there were substantial defects in the jury directions during the defamation trial at the court of first instance. Malice is an unfortunate expression and can lead to confusion, so it is preferred to avoid before juries. The judge had also made an error in the directions that he gave to the jury by defining madness as the use of the occasion for an improper purpose and an absence of honest belief in the truth of what was published. The top court added the jury received no direction as to the weight of the burden of proof which the students and their father had to discharge, so it is appropriate to set aside the jury verdicts. The top court went on to say that the Court of Appeal's decision of not having a retrial was based on a wrong foundation. That is, reckless indifference to the truth or falsity of the publication could not establish madness unless it amounted to willful blindness. The court ordered a retrial on the issue of madness and set aside the orders made by the lower court. Christy Leung, TVB News.
MTR Corporation executives said today a hidden system coding error led to service disruptions on the East Rail line in January. Legislators didn't buy that explanation as an investigation revealed that 2 servers failed, which the railway operator stressed is unrelated to current works on upgrading its signalling system. Train services on the entire East Rail line came to a complete standstill on January 11th. During the 2-hour service suspension, at least 6 passengers opened the doors of their stranded trains and tried to walk to the nearest railway station. One lawmaker questioned if the MTR Corporation's announcements, or lack of, are to blame.
So they've waited for half an hour and over an hour without any response. That's why they went onto the track. It was 10:21 when train services resumed. However, at 10:30, there were still people who went to the track, onto the tracks. Why? Is it because that the information of service resumption has not reached train captains or passengers?
But executives of the railway company had a bigger question to answer before legislators. Why did trains stop?
On the day, there was an unstable situation with the master server as well as the slave server. The cause of this problem is because of a hidden software coding error in the TCS software module.
That coding error, according to the engineer, was triggered by continuous growth of traffic regulation data, which he stressed is unrelated to the current signalling upgrade work.
When you use terminology to explain what happened, you say that the server was not functioning smoothly. That wasn't the case. Actually, there was a breakdown. The system was not working. So you're using, euphemisms to sort of, to cover up.
The railway operator has now downloaded a new software to eliminate the problem. It will also study comments on improving free shuttle bus services during train disruptions.
Beijing officials spoke of legal responsibilities for those who cross the line, such as making calls for Hong Kong independence or splitting the country. That's according to Tom So, president of the Law Society of Hong Kong. He's currently in the capital and met with Huang Liuquan, Deputy Director of the State Council's Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office. So said the central government official didn't specify where the line on freedom of speech needs to be drawn, as that's up to how Hong Kong laws define it.
There's 1 day left before the deadline expires for people wanting to apply for the latest batch of home ownership scheme flats. By late afternoon, the Housing Authority had received around 97,000 applications. Caleb Leung has the details.
It's been a busy day at the Housing Authority's Customer Service Centre in Lok Fu. That's because tomorrow is the application deadline for a home ownership scheme unit from the latest batch of flats. Around 4,400 units will be up for grabs from 3 housing estates located in Cheung Sha Wan, Kai Tak and Tung Chung. Speaking to TVB News, the chairman of the Housing Authority's Subsidized Housing Committee, Stanley Wong, said only 400 units were reserved for singleton applicants. He understands that demand is much higher than supply, but has no intention of building more smaller flats. Wong said he has to balance the different housing needs of different applicants. Wong also talked about the price of the flats, which is set at 70% of the market price. At the current property price level, Wong is concerned whether these HOS flats are still affordable to the targeted buyers. However, he is anticipating a positive response for this new batch of flats. Balloting is expected to be held in June, while the flat selection process may begin in August the earliest. Caleb Leung, TVB News.
Overseas again, Malaysia will hold a general election on May the 9th. The country's election commission made the announcement this morning after Prime Minister Najib Razak dissolved parliament on Friday. The 64-year-old Najib is under pressure to deliver an emphatic win as he struggles to appease Malaysians unhappy with rising costs and a multi-billion-dollar scandal at a state fund he founded. His opposition comes from his old mentor, 92-year-old former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad. Mahathir turned against his protege after the scandal surfaced.
Colombia's peace process has been rocked by the surprise arrest of a former top leader of the disbanded FARC rebel army. Sources Hernandez is accused of trying to smuggle several tons of cocaine into the U.S. The arrest of the former rebel leader has played into fears among many Colombians that the former guerrillas haven't cut ties to the country's flourishing criminal underworld. It also triggered an exchange of angry recriminations between conservative critics of the peace process and supporters of the disbanded Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos defended the arrest as necessary to maintain the credibility of the peace accord. Tony, over to you for some NBA action.
Yes, NBA. We've also got Commonwealth Games, but let's start with basketball. With one game left in the regular NBA season, the Minnesota Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets will duke it out for the 8th and final playoff spot in the Western Conference. 3 other West teams secured trips to the postseason earlier today, including Oklahoma City, and Jeff Tang has a look at all the action. Moving on now to the Commonwealth Games. Host Australia won double gold in the men's and women's cycling time trial events. Cameron Meyer took